Want to hook you up here in just a second, but we want to pray for you. Okay? Lord, we pray for our brother this morning. We pray that as he brings the word to us, Lord, that you just anoint him. Bring your spirit alive in his presence, Lord. Let his mind be rejuvenated where there's any space in there, forgetfulness or anything. Lord, just allow him the liberty to bring forth your word through the power of the Holy Spirit. In Jesus' name, amen. Brother, just stick that someplace in your pocket or whatever. Brother, just stick that someplace in your pocket or whatever. I better put it up the right way. Try that.
Thank you.
God bless you.
Thank you.
Don't you want somebody to love? Don't you need somebody to love? Wouldn't you love somebody to love? You better find somebody to love.
Good morning. Did you have a song that was like stuck in your head and bouncing around there for like years? You just can't seem to get rid of it? Well, that song that you just heard by Gracie Slick with Jefferson Airplane has been that song for me. It's been there for years. You know, it was as if somebody was trying to tell me something. When the truth turns out to be a lie, and all the joy within you dies, don't you need someone to love? And as we'll find out, that someone is Jesus Christ. My involvement with the Jehovah's Witnesses started in 1970. My kid sister asked me to sit in on a Bible study. She wanted to get her fiance interested in Jehovah's Witness religion. And she asked me if I'd sit in, thinking that he might be a little more comfortable. Well, I really didn't want to sit in on a Bible study with Jehovah's Witnesses. But I thought, gee, I owe you a lot of favors, so 1 hour can't be that bad. Besides, the hockey game's on at 7, and the Bruins are playing Montreal in the Stanley Cup, and her fiance was a big hockey fan, so I know we could be out of there in an hour. Excuse me. So we sit down for the study, and the Bible conductor, his name was John, he said, Dick, I understand you're in the military. And I said, well, yes, I'm a sergeant. I'm a Marine sergeant stationed down at Quonset Point, Rhode Island. And he said, your sister tells me that you just came back from Vietnam. And I said, yeah, I did. And he said, that must have been awful difficult. And I said, you know, it was horrific. It stunk. It's horrible. And I guess he knew that touched the chord with me. And he wanted to, like, you know, get more out of me. But I was done there. I just put my head down, and he went to my brother-in-law and started talking to him about, you know, his life. And as I just try to avoid any more conversation of it, my mind went back to Vietnam. And there was one horrific day that I had, and I really hadn't intended to share it with everybody. It's pretty personal, and it's pretty difficult. But when Wendy Tucker was up here yesterday, she gave me a lot of courage. She touched on things that were very sensitive to her life. And she did that so we could appreciate how she came back and found Jesus Christ. It gave me a lot of courage. So I'm now going to tell you about one day that I had in Vietnam. When I got to Vietnam, I was a 20-year-old Lance Corporal, and that's not much rank. So when you don't have much rank, you get all the rotten details. And one of the rotten details that I got was to take the garbage down to this dump and dump it. As you can imagine, we had a mess hall, and all the food that was not consumed, you know, in the daytime, we ended up overnight. It was always 100 degrees over there, so that, excuse me, the temperature is always hot, so the food would decay and there'd be maggots in it all over the place. Well, it was my job to put these 55-gallon drums on this truck, drive it 5 miles, which takes 5 hours over there because you don't travel very fast over there, and just dump it. Well, I had to do it. I was only a Lance Corporal. So we drive down to this road where there's a dump. And I see these kids chasing after the truck, like it was the ice cream truck. Oh, wow. I mean, I heard about a lot of stuff, but this was kind of over the top. I get out with the driver, and we started dumping these barrels as fast as we could. And the stench was like, you wouldn't believe it. Actually, even if you're breathing through your mouth, you can still smell it. It's just a horrific, horrific smell. We dumped the barrels and grab the empties and throw them back on the truck, and we want to get out of there as fast as we can. These little kids come running around, barefoot, grab the meat. There's maggots on it. Cleans the maggots off, and they start eating it. Well, it's right then and there that I blew my breakfast. Let's get out of here. I was telling the driver, let's get the heck out of here. And I look up to heavens, and it really wasn't a prayer. It was more like, hey, do you know what's going on down here? I thought Jesus loved all the little children. Oh, boy. If you have any miracles left, now's the time. Excuse me just for a second here. I get a little nervous, and my mouth dries up. So we finished the Bible study and never made the hockey game. But I was impressed by something the Bible study conductor told me. He said, you know, Dick, if the whole world, if everyone in the world was a Jehovah's Witness, there wouldn't be any wars. Oh, boy. That hit me like a 2x4. I really like the sound of that. So I go, well, gee, I don't know. I mean, that's wonderful. He says, yeah, Jehovah's Witnesses, they'll go to prison before they go to war. And I was thinking, well, I'd rather go 2 years in prison than 2 years in Vietnam, but that's beside the point. John, when is this going to happen? When is this? What's the vehicle if this is going to happen? God's war. The war of Armageddon. That's what's going to happen. Really? As a matter of fact, Dick, you're in a very, very precious time. Because now, in 5 years from now, it's over. Armageddon's coming. I get all the scriptures in the world to prove it. And I want you to know, the Bible has never, ever, ever been wrong. So you can count on this. It is absolutely, positively going to come. And those kids that you saw eating garbage, and those guys that you've seen getting blown up, and arms and legs gone, and bleeding all over the place, that's going to be gone too. Ooh. This is really too good to be true. So I'm really excited. I get called down to my CO, and he goes, hey, Sergeant, you want to ship over? I said, I have plans. What are your plans? I'm going to be a Jehovah's Witness. He went, really? I said, yeah. Well, all right. Good luck. So, I take my discharge, and I got a job, worked for a company called AFCO. It's a defense contractor, but I wasn't bright enough or smart enough in the Jehovah's Witness organization to realize that it was a government thing. They were training me as a plastic technician, and when I finished the training, they sent me off to this department, and that department was making war armaments. And I absolutely knew I couldn't do that as a Jehovah's Witness. So I quit a good paying job, but you know what? I was doing it for Jehovah. Well, in that period of time, I had a girlfriend that I was pretty crazy about. Very, very pretty blonde. And, I said, Paula, you just have to study with Jehovah's Witnesses because Armageddon's coming. I absolutely, positively guarantee you that this war is coming. And if you don't become a Jehovah's Witness, you're going to die. So she says, wow, all right. So she starts studying the truth book. She's halfway through it. And I go to pick her up one day for her study, because I was studying, we were staying with the Nettos. I was studying with John, and John's wife was Rose, and Paula was studying with Rose. So I'm really getting excited. I'm thinking, when we finish the truth book, I'm going to ask her to marry me. And we can be Jehovah's Witnesses and make it through Armageddon. And I'm just really psyched. So I get to the house, and I go to pick her up, and she comes out, and she goes, Dick, no way. I am not going to continue to study with Jehovah's Witnesses. Hey, Paula, what are you talking about? It's 1972. We've got 3 more years. Armageddon's come. You're going to be dead. I mean, you love this stuff. I love this stuff. You can't just not study. He says, well, my dad called a priest, and he came to the house, and he said that it's a fraud. It's really not the truth. As a matter of fact, Armageddon's not going to come. And they had this, they knew about this place called Best Serene out in San Diego, where I guess where Rutherford was around, and they've got a whole bunch of, they told everybody that the saints of old, you know, Jacob, you know, all those guys from Bible days, Lazarus and all those, they were going to show up and they were going to live there. Of course, didn't happen. But they also said Russell was an adulterer. Oh, Pastor Russell, founder of the Watchtower Bible and Tract Society, an adulterer? I can't believe that. It doesn't make any sense to me. So I get to my Bible study and I say, hey, John, Paul's not coming. And I'm pretty upset about it. And he goes, this happens, Dick. This happens. Satan gets them out. But I want you to know that you're going to make it through, you know, because you're going to become a baptized, dedicated Jehovah's Witness. And I'm thinking, well, I want her to make it through too. Dick, you're going to see her corpse out there, and the birds of the sky are going to be plucking the eyeballs out of her head. Yeah, she's a beautiful woman now, but in 1975, she won't be. Well, now I'm really hurt. Don't know what to do. The brother I'm studying with says, listen, there's a really, really spiritual girl in the Kingdom Hall. Oh, she's just smart. She's wonderful. And her name is Pam. So I started going out with her, and she was a wonderful, wonderful girl, a woman. Did everything right. So I got engaged to her. Now everything's, you know, well, life is looking pretty good. I'm pretty happy with things. So now it's time for my baptism. I'm psyched. I can leave the old life behind. I was smoking marijuana and getting a lot of fights and drank a lot of beer. Drove my motorcycle real fast when I was drunk, which was a lot of time, which was most of the time. I had demons that needed to be exercised, and the drinking helped. Well, then it came a time for baptism, and I was really psyched. I really wanted to get baptized. I just couldn't wait to be a Jehovah's Witness. So we're we're having the baptism talk, and then prior we had the talk, and I'm psyched. Then we have the drama. Well, the drama was Jericho. Remember Jericho? They march around 7 times, the walls come down. And then God's people go into that city or that town, and they kill everybody. Men, women, child, dogs, cats. If it was alive, they killed it. And I'm going, wait a minute. God's people did this under God's command. Well, that's a lot like My Lai. I don't know if many of you remember the 60s in My Lai. There was a massacre. It was done in a place called Happy Valley, which wasn't too happy. And that was around the neck of the woods that I used to patrol. The Army took some small arms fire, hit a couple of guys, and they decided to wipe the whole village out. Everything. Children, babies, dogs, cats. If it moved, they shot it. Became a big controversy here in this country. Well, how could our guys do that? Well, the fact is, that stuff is done every day over there. It's a completely different world. Well, I'm getting towards the end of my study, and I'm all excited about, well, when God is going to change things. When is this war coming? Oh, excuse me. I left something out. It's baptism. I had the baptism talk, and I'm getting real shaky. I'm like, hey, man, it's just not making sense to me. How can God's people in 1968 go to jail so they wouldn't be go in the military and be blood guilty? And here's God's people over here killing people with a sword. And my gut was just turning. Because I was envisioning what it's like to go into a village with a sword in your hand. Now, when we killed people, it was with a rifle. I mean, we saw who we were shooting at, and we killed them. But when you go in there with a sword and you stick it in somebody's belly, and his guts and his blood is all over you, I mean, that's got to be some horrific stuff. And I couldn't imagine how come over here, back in biblical days, you could kill people, and now you can't. So I'm really perplexed, and I was just getting a bad vibe. You ever get this, like, something doesn't feel right? So I get up, and I said, the heck with this. Even though I was engaged, which I didn't realize I couldn't marry her unless I was a Jehovah's Witness, but I didn't realize it at the time. I get up, and I say to heading for the exit door. Presiding overseer, he comes running after me. What's the matter? What's the matter? I says, listen, what's Jehovah's people doing in there? Killing people with a sword. Killing everybody, men, women, children. So, well, you know, Dick, I said, you're new. And you probably don't have a lot of Jehovah's Spirit yet. But once you get baptized and Jehovah's Spirit comes to you, you know what? You'll understand. Oh, all right. I'll buy that. I'll get baptized. Excuse me a second. I'll buy that. I'll get baptized. Well, you know, I get baptized, and I get baptized, and you know, I marry my wife, and you know, I'm pretty happy. But I'm really anticipating Armageddon. You know, when you're in the military and you know you're going to engage the enemy, there's an anticipation that happens. It's an anxiety that builds. You think, hey, is, you know, my rifle clean? Do I have enough ammo? You know, do I have the right armament? You know, I didn't get killed. And Armageddon's getting closer, and it's getting closer, and it's getting closer. And I'm telling all my friends, hey, if you're not a Jehovah's Witness, you're done. 1975, it's over. I had an aunt who was a little sister of the Assumption. That's a Catholic order, and all those nuns are registered nurses. They go to school. And I had a nun that I saw pictures of her when she was a kid. She's beautiful. And she gave up, you know, being a mother and all that stuff. And, you know, RNs make pretty good money. She's all over the world, Bangladesh, India, yeah, all over the place. She took a vow of poverty. She never owned anything. Her whole life was serving other people. So we have a family reunion. So what do I say to her? Honey, you're in Babylon the Great, and you're part of the clergy class, and you're going to be dead in 1975 if you don't change. Thank you for the warning, Dick. I'm telling you, honey. I go back and I go, whew, I'm not blood guilty there. I told her. She doesn't want to accept it. Well, now I want to talk about Armageddon because it's part of the theme of this. And I want to read 3 paragraphs to you. It's what the Truth Book says about Armageddon's coming in 1975. The Bible speaks of a time in which we are living as the last days, or the time of the end. 2 Timothy 3:1 and Daniel 11:40. The facts show that this limited period that has a definite beginning and a definite end. It began in 1914 when Jesus was enthroned as king in the heavens, and will end when God destroys his present wicked system of things. What a relief it will be when the organizations and persons that cheat and oppress and all who endanger the security of their fellow man are gone. Second paragraph. How soon will that be? God's own Son, Jesus Christ, gives the answer. After drawing attention to the many things that marked the period from 1914 onward as the time of the end, Jesus said, "This generation will by no means pass away until all these things occur." That's Matthew 24:34. Which generation did he mean? Jesus had just referred to persons who would see all these things. These things are the events that have taken place since 1914, and those yet to occur down to the end of this wicked system. Persons born even as much as 50 years ago could not see all these things. They came on the scene after the foretold events were already underway. They are persons, but there are persons still living who were alive in 1914 and saw what was happening then and who were old enough that they still remember these events. This generation is getting up in years now. A great number of them have already passed away in death. Yet Jesus very pointedly said, "This generation will by no means pass away until all these things occur." Some of them will still be alive to see the end of this wicked system. This means that there is only a short time left before the end comes. So now is the time to take action if you do not want to be washed away with this wicked system of things. Now is the time to take action if you do not want to be washed away with this wicked system of things. I became a joke to my friends, my relatives. I told them all, "You're going to die." 1975, absolutely, positively. Bible's never been wrong. Armageddon's coming. Well, I'd like to play a little clip from the then Vice President of the Watchtower Bible and Tract Society. In this talk, Freddie Franz does some double talking here. See if you can understand what he's saying. He's got a couple of paragraphs he's going to tell you in this clip. It's not going to make any sense, so it was left for Jehovah's Witnesses to try to translate in their mind what he was really trying to say. And most of them deducted that 1975 would be the end. All the years that I was in, well, the years prior to 1975 anyway, was explained to me this way. 1914 was the year that Christ came to earth. Inspected everything, found out that only Jehovah's Witnesses were doing the right thing. And that 1975 was going to mark the end of 6,000 years of man's existence on the earth. And then there'd be a 1,000-year reign of Jesus Christ, and that would be 7,000 years, and 7 was a number in the Bible that denotes completion. So it couldn't be anything else but Armageddon 1975. I'd like you to just take a second to listen to this clip and see if you can figure out what Freddie Franz is trying to say. He was the vice president of the Watchtower. And incidentally, this talk took place at Dodger Stadium.
When God produced the first male and female and told them to procreate, there God laid the foundation for the producing of a whole world of mankind that would fill this earth comfortably in a paradise state. Consequently, the sixth creative day came to an end with the creation of Eve. Now, how long after the creation of Adam that was, the Bible does not specify. We cannot definitely calculate. But it wants a period of time, shorter or longer. Now, if it was just a month after Adam's creation, then 6,000 years from Eve's creation would still end in this secular calendar year of 1975. It would end in October.
Well, there you have it. That's the double speak, double talk. It leaves it up to the audience to really wonder, well, what did he say? I was very confused. I was really hurt that Armageddon didn't come when they said it would. It made me question other things I was going to be taught in the Bible. Now I found myself trapped in a religion that didn't make a whole lot of sense to me. I did a lot of drinking. I did a lot of things that were wrong. One of the things that I did was wrong is I had an affair. I committed adultery. I went and told my wife, I told the elders, they forgave me, and all right, it was over. And then in '76, I decided to go to college, and elders come up, one elder come up and said, you probably shouldn't be doing that. You're really getting a secular education this late in the system is kind of a dumb thing. And I thought, well, I got to tell you, brother, I'm on the GI Bill, and I'm making $450 a month going to school, which was paid the rent. And my wife doesn't work. She's actually pioneering, so that kind of got me out of it. So he let me go. But Jehovah's Witnesses, even today, if you're a ministerial servant or an elder, and you go to college, they delete you. It's kind of weird how they do things. I have a couple of stories I'd like to tell you. I want to go back to Vietnam. I'll take you back there for a minute. I really had no intention of really telling this to anybody. I was going to keep it to myself. I don't know if I should put this in the program or not. But Wendy Tucker, she really encouraged me, or I was encouraged by her talk when she just kind of bore her soul and told things that were uncomfortable in her life. And I thought she showed a lot of courage doing that. So I thought I would try to emulate her. So I have a couple of stories that I want to tell you, give you an idea what my mindset was at the time. After that trip that I told you about to the garbage dump, we're leaving. And I've got this driver, and we're leaving with the garbage trucks and the garbage cans. And we pull off the road, and we go down to this village. This is off the road. We're not supposed to be off this road. We're not supposed to go in the village. What do you care? We're probably all going to die. So, okay. He was more savvy than me. So we get down to this village. And he said, I'm going to take good care of you. All right. So we go into this house, and I don't know what it is right up front. So as soon as I get in, it hit me. I'm in a house of prostitution. And I'm thinking, oh, I was 20 years old, and at that period of my life, I had never experienced intercourse. Plenty of opportunities, but my mother always said, you know, you want to marry a real good woman, and she's going to be a virgin, and you should be also. And then I kind of thought, well, that's the way it's going to go. That's my first time I have sex. It's going to be a wedding bed. It's going to be a nice little chamber somewhere, a nice hotel. That's how I always pictured it would be. But I get in there, and I don't want to be there. And I know he's already paid for the girl. And I really don't want to do this. But you don't want anyone to think that you're homosexual either, because you can get yourself killed real easy over there. So I was hoping maybe the would be a certain, there'd be different rooms that you could go into, and I could just say, hey, forget it. But there was beads coming down the wall, and the curtains with beads, and you can see through, you can see what's going on. I didn't have much of a choice. I kind of think this is how a lot of women must feel when they're forced into sex. So I had sex with the girl, and I really felt lousy about myself. I felt lousy about the whole thing. So I had sex with the girl. Well, we take off out of the Ville, and we head up the road, and the driver says to me, we take off out of the Ville. There he is. Well, he used a lot of profanity, and I'm going to kill that kid. He stole my watch last time I was down here. So he gets out of the truck, he grabs his rifle, and he's chasing the kid. Well, over there, you always have to back up the guy you're with, getting near back. So I'm off the truck, I got my rifle, and I'm chasing the guy that's chasing the kid, the young boy. And he says to me, we couldn't catch the kid, and he was getting some distance on us. And he goes, I'm going to kill that, fill in the blank. Took that rifle, rolled it into his shoulder, knocked his safety off, and I said, oh, he's not going to do this. He's just going to scare the kid. Shot him in the back of the head, spun him around, blood all over the place. And, this is some stuff. All in one day. By the time I got back to our base, I was as numb as you could be. For like 2 days, I just walked around, not knowing who I was or what I was doing, just going through the motions. So, that got deep into my psyche. I felt like I was responsible for that boy dying. If I would have known he was really going to shoot him, I would have stopped him. I would have hit the rifle. I would have hit him. I would have done something. But I didn't know what he was going to do. I really didn't know it. And I had guilt about this for so long. I just felt so bad. Guilt can do strange things to your brain. You force it down into you. Not as if I've had to force it down into my brain like it didn't happen, but something always triggers, it comes up, and you go a little nuts. Got another story. I hate to be doing graphic stories to everybody, but I know these are kind of intense and kind of graphic, but I just want you to get the picture of what happened to me. When I was 11 years old, I had a dog. I loved it. Had about 3 or 4 years, a German Shepherd. And for some unknown reason, I upset my father with something I did, or he didn't like the dog. But he grabbed the dog, and he drove it up into New Hampshire and let it out. I live in Massachusetts, and my home was right on the state line. I cried for about 2 days. My mother got real upset with my dad, so my dad decided to go up to New Hampshire and look for the dog. We go up and can't find the dog. Can't find the dog. I'm still really upset. So it was a little after midnight one night. I heard a dog bark, and I thought it was my dog. Went out the window. It wasn't my dog, or somebody else's. So I said, well, I'm going to go hitchhike up to New Hampshire. It was after 12. I was 11. We used to hitchhike a lot. And see if I can't find my dog. I'm hitchhiking, and I get picked up by 2 women. They were strange looking. And they take me up to where the dog was dropped off. We go all around looking for the dog. Can't find it. They're going to take me back to where they picked me up, which was right near a ballpark that I used to play Little League Baseball in. Well, they weren't women. They had breasts, but they had men genitalia. I never heard of this kind of stuff. I was 11 years old. You never really know about this stuff. I mean, we all know about it now, but back in the day, I probably just found out what intercourse was when I was about 2 or 3 years prior to that. I had no knowledge. I weighed about 80 pounds. They held me down, and they sodomized me. I can remember having a hard time walking home. It was just a horrific thing. And next year when I had to play baseball in that park, I couldn't. I quit the baseball team. I just couldn't be in that park. Well, in order to go through life and actually have any kind of a life at all, what you have to do, you have to take thoughts and memories like that and stick it down into your subconscious. I mean, you can really lock it in there, way down. I can remember after 75, my book study conductor said, hey, Brother Borghi, listen, you're not turning any field service time in. I talk to somebody on the phone, and I mention I'm going to a meeting, so that's an hour. I write that off as an hour. I mean, that's how a lot of people do it. He goes, brother, we're going to get you out in service. We're going to get you knocking on doors and so forth. Well, that's the last thing I really wanted. How could I tell people we have the truth when Armageddon didn't happen in 1975 like they absolutely guaranteed me it was going to happen? I had so much guilt in me that I was losing touch of reality. I was drinking a lot. I was drinking way too much. In 1977, my son was born, and I had the joy of having a son, but the guilt that I felt responsible for taking a child away from another father 7,000 miles away. I just really couldn't enjoy having a baby. And I drank, and the drinking leads to a lot of things that aren't very good. I can remember in '79, I bought a house, and the elder come up and said, Brother Borghi, why are you buying a house? I said, you know, we're in the very last seconds of this wicked system of things. So I had a really good answer for him. I said, well, still going on quick bills, aren't we? You know, oh, well, all right. I said, you know, I got one child, and we'll probably have more. And I said, okay. He let that go. I had a problem with something that kind of drove me nuts. There was a scripture that if you look at a woman with, you know, with lust, you've committed adultery. And I had a hard time. I can remember being at the beach and watching these girls playing volleyball, and you know, they're popping out of their bikinis, and I was getting, wow, hey, it's pretty nice. Oh my God, I've sinned. It's almost the same as adultery. I was just having a really, really hard time with that. I went to a psychiatrist, and I said to the doctor, I must be some kind of a sex nut or something. I said, I just can't help looking at a pretty girl and getting, I'm married, but I look at a pretty girl and it feels nice. He says, Dick, he says, you're normal. But in the Jehovah's Witnesses, that's not normal. That's adultery. Well, I was always depressed, and I had the rape going on. I had the Vietnam thing going on. And now these elders are telling me that if I don't go out in the field service, I'm blood guilty. It adds to the depression. I really wanted to die. I drank a lot. That caused me to go into my second adultery. I had a second son born in 1980. I had more guilt on that. What happened with the adultery is I covered it up. I said, you know, I'll never, ever be good enough to be in a new system. I'm really a degenerate, a willful, disobedient sinner. There's absolutely no chance for me, none at all. But what I'll do is, because I love my wife, I love my kids, I'll keep them as close to the Kingdom Hall as I can, just in case Armageddon does come. So I do all the things that you're supposed to do. I can remember one of my greatest tricks was answering at the Watchtower. When the brothers were reading paragraph 7, I'm reading paragraph 9. So when paragraph 9 comes, I got the answer. Don't know what the lesson is, but I got the answer to that. And then I would go out in field service. Well, knocking on the doors, I'm always hoping, please, don't answer it. I'll stand there for 20 minutes at this door, you know. And finally, you know, so, I mean, you're knocking on enough doors, someone's going to talk to you. Someone comes out and says that they were born again. And that, where's Armageddon? That's supposed to come in 75. Isn't that what you people teach? I really didn't have an answer for it. And then she said, you know, your founder, Pastor Russell, he was an adulterer. Ooh, where have I heard that before? He's an adulterer. So, hey, Brother Elder, you hear about? People keep telling me that Pastor Russell was an adulterer. Oh, that's, you know, that's Christendom. They lie about everything. Okay. So I'm doing this cover-up. I'm you know, they asked me, I'm offering prayer up at the book studies, and, you know, I look good. That's the thing. I look good. My heart is like, I was, you know, I was not a spiritual person, but I could fake it. Well, I faked it so well that the elders came up to me and said, Brother Borghi, you do such an outstanding job. We're going to make you a ministerial servant. Whoa. So I'm like, you know, I really did pray that second adultery could be forgiven. But I wasn't going to take a chance telling my ex-wife, well, now my ex-wife, but telling Pam that this is the second go-around with this. So, I kept it quiet. Now, I'm a ministerial servant, so that means Jehovah's Spirit has appointed me, because as we all know, all the appointments in the society are done by Holy Spirit directly from God. We all know that. Well, started having a problem. Circuit overseer comes, and we're all sitting, we get elders and servants, and I'm sitting in the back there. And he says, brothers, he says, the society wants your opinion on something. The society feels it's a good idea to disfellowship people that are overweight, that are fat. Whoa. Overweight and fat, disfellowship. And they said, because, we don't allow smoking, and that's detrimental to the body. And being overweight is detrimental to the body. And besides, people that are overweight, well, they're all gluttons, or most of them are gluttons, unless there is a medical reason. Now, I'm thinking, my wife had gained 70 pounds since we've been married, and I knew how hard she worked at keeping the weight off. And I had all my meals with her. She ate like a canary. I don't know why she put on the weight. Doesn't make any sense to me. Her mother was heavy. She was 300 pounds, and I know that she dieted and exercised for 6 months prior to me and Pim getting married to get into a dress. And she lost 20 pounds in order to be where you're supposed to be at 5'4", it's like 150 pounds. There was no way this woman was going to shed 100 and something pounds. It's just a physical impossibility. So I get to thinking, this sounds like Nazi Germany, where they make the master race. This is not feeling right with me at all. So they asked for a vote, all those in favor of disfellowshipping. And I've got an elder sitting in front of me. Got a very slender wife. I was like, I just wanted to lay him out. I was ripping. And so I say the circuit overseer. Now, I usually don't shut my mouth. I usually don't say too much in that stuff because, I'm not all that spiritual. I don't know all the scriptures are, but man, I was mad. And I looked at the circuit overseer and I said, hey, whatever happened to Jehovah God sending a signal, or however they do it, to the anointed telling the governing body, and the governing body tells the writing staff, and we get it. Why are we voting? Who am I to vote on somebody's everlasting life just because they maybe weigh 200-300 pounds? It just doesn't feel right. Well, this is a good thing it didn't pass, and I don't think the rank and file witnesses ever knew that we voted on stuff like that. What happens then in like 1988? I get a call to go meet with the circuit overseer, and he says, we have two congregations, Lowell Highlands and the Belvedere. They share the same Kingdom Hall. It was once Lowell congregation, and then, it split, and it grew, and it grew. Well, now the opposite was happening. It was getting smaller and smaller and smaller. Brothers and sisters were leaving. There was discord in the congregation. People were upset with each other. So I go in there, and he says, well, who lives where? Because the society says that if you don't live in the territory, you shouldn't be in that Kingdom Hall. So I tell him all the stuff that, all the brothers, this brother really lives in Bill Ricker, and this one really lives in Tingsboro, and they don't live in Lowell. Well, we're going to get rid of them. We're going to send them back to where they belong. Okay. He said the reason that this is happening in Lowell is because there's an Achan in the congregation. If you don't know who Achan was, he's the one who, in Jericho, went in there, stole the gold breastplate, hid it in his tent, and all the armies, every war that the Israelites had at that time, they lost. So they go, the elders, or whoever it was, went around and they found this guy Achan. They killed him, and they killed his family. So that's the I call it the Achan syndrome. So he goes, there must be an Achan in this Kingdom Hall. It didn't dawn on me, because I had a lot of stuff suppressed. I go home and I'm thinking, geez, it must be an Aiken. I wonder who it could be. Whoa. I'm an adulterer, and I'm hiding it. And the sad thing was, I go, Brother Borghi, if you could polish up your speaking skills, we're going to make you an elder. And I'm like, yeah, I'm going to sit in an elders meeting in this fellowship somebody for committing adult, for having sex outside of marriage. Yeah, that works. But it really drove me nuts. I had the rape as a child. I had the Vietnam experience. But it really drove me nuts. I had them telling me that I was blood guilty, and I started losing it. I want to harken back to the day that I was sodomized when I was 11 years old. The ones who did it told me that's what you deserve because you snuck out of the house on your parents after midnight. You deserve this. And I bought into it. I wasn't going to tell anybody, and I didn't. It wasn't just of late, years and, So now what do? Now I am responsible for the Holy Spirit being taken from that congregation. It's me. I'm the guilty party. I am destroying everybody's spirituality. People aren't going to make it through Armageddon because of me and what I've done. I've hid my adultery. So now, I didn't want a chance going back to Pam and tell her, hey, this is the second time around. So I had to find a way to punish myself because I was suicidal. And if you punish yourself, these suicidal ideations diminish. So I go to this porn house where every pervert in the city goes, and I allowed them to do the stuff that happened to me when I was 11 years old. It worked for a while because the guilt left, but it comes back. And what also comes back is, oh my God, what did I do? What is wrong with me? This is not who I am. But I don't know who I am anymore. I mean, now I can't read or write. I was a circuit designer, and I've got these 4 circuits that I have to design and work with. I couldn't do it. My boss said, hey, Dick, you can't do the job anymore. We'll transfer you out. I was just so messed up. I got some counseling. I was going out with this woman after being disfellowship and all this. And she's a psychologist, and she was really sharp. I went to high school with her. She says, you get PTSD. No, I don't. She said, you're also mentally ill. I said, no, I'm not. She said, why don't you go in the VA and have a test? And I said, no, I'm not going to do that. She said, I want you to. Do it for me. So I really think you have a really, really bad case of PTSD. You're yelling in your sleep. All right, just to placate her, patronize her, I go down, I have the test. Oh, you got it bad. You've got PTSD real bad. Well, I got some counseling at the VA. I got some meds. And a real wonderful thing happened to me. A real great guy. I won't tell you his names, but his initials are Rick Fearon down there. Starts a home church, and he puts an ad in the paper. He's spending his money for it. And I see the ad about, looking to find Jehovah's Witnesses. So I go, well, you know what? I'll get on there and see what's going on. It's the Holiday Inn. So I go in there, and all the pieces start to fall in place. Boom, 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 boom. It's amazing what a spiritual man can do for you. It's absolutely amazing. And well, first of all, boy, this is so good. Wait a minute. That's how I felt about the Watchtower. That was really, really good when I first got it. Well, he ain't getting a penny from me till I'm sure he's the right one. And for sure he was. And so I would suggest to anyone, if you have students or whatever, tune them into the 6 screens of the Watchtower. I just want to close because my time's up. I had some more, but my time's up. Jehovah's Witnesses is what Matthew 7:15 says. Applies so fittingly to them. They are the false prophet in sheep's clothes. Thank you. Oops.